Sorry for those technical difficulties that we started off with right there. But hey, not a big deal. With our theme this year of whatever it takes, we just keep pushing through. So thank you for staying tuned, and welcome to Winter Sports 2020 and 2021 for Glendale Prep Athletics. I'm Mr. Garrison, the athletic director here, and I'm so excited today. I'm so excited for what I have to share with you all, and I hope to be informative and quick so that you can have the information that you need for this season. I would like to thank Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Klein, and everyone at Griffin Sportsnet for helping kind of put this together. We learned about this information late last week, And so we wanted to get together quickly with our families. Obviously, we can't all be in person, so we tried to throw this together quickly so we could give you an update with just some information and some specifics regarding this winter. We hope to be short and sweet. We do want to start by kind of highlighting our fall sports this year. We had an incredible fall with everything that we had going on. Our athletes kept working. They've been working all summer long, and then they came straight into the fall with some momentum. We're so proud of them, from our high school to our middle school, just the amount of work that they put in, the effort, and of course the reward. When you look at the middle school program, all of our teams were competing at a high level. We're so impressed with the way that they just developed their skills this year. They got better and better each day. We want to thank those coaches for the amount of time that they put in, and for just the amount of growth that happened within our student athletes in the middle school. On the high school level, a little bit more competition. That's where we try to get after, and we're so proud of those high school teams. In the high school, we had high school cross country take home a state runner-up trophy. We had high school volleyball, one of the top-ranked teams in the state most of the year, with an incredible record. High school football, for the first time in 11-man history, went to playoffs, and so congratulations to them. And today we found out that Coach Adicott was Region Coach of the Year. And then in our high school swim inaugural season, Coach Anna Costina, Coach Dan Moe, it was the first year of high school swim. They got right after it. We even had a student athlete who qualified for state. So we have a lot of things to celebrate here at GP Athletics, and we're just so excited about it. So the way this will work, I'm going to kind of run through a lot of information here. You'll see in the chat box in YouTube, you'll have the ability to comment right there in the chat box. Mr. Hawkins is watching that closely so that he can hopefully keep me up to date with what questions are coming through. As well as you can go ahead and email him if you're having difficulties with commenting through YouTube. This is the year of technology, right? So we've been figuring it out with Zooms and live streams and all kinds of things, but let's not all act like we're the best at it. It's okay. And so if you're with the old-fashioned email, go ahead and shoot him an email. He's ready. He's on guard. No question's a bad question. So shoot that to him, mhawkins@glendaleprep.org, just during this live stream, and we'll make sure to answer it. Please be patient with us. There will be times that he'll stop me to answer a question, but he'll also let me flow because there is some information that I may just touch on before your question. Our theme, whatever it takes. We came into this year with that theme because we knew that this was going to be a year of a lot of adjustments. And so we had to be ready to kind of stay on our toes and be ready to move and be the best at it. That's really what we're about. Let's not just move, but then let's be the best at it. So I'll just share something with you. Our coaches all had 5 pillars this year that they were supposed to follow and try to implement within their teams. And they've all done it so far. One of them's caring. One of them's being positive, solution-minded, adaptable/flexible, and then impactful. And so we hope that as you come into the winter sports, if you didn't play in the fall, that you embrace that. Athletes, parents, embrace that with us, especially the adaptable and being flexible one. I may share schedules with your coaches here in the next couple of weeks that could totally change once our season starts. You just have to be ready for that. And so stay flexible with us. We plan to be as consistent as we can be, but there are a lot of moving pieces in this. So let's talk about what we've got going on so we can get through this. I like to go quick, so I plan to be done at 4:45. We'll see if I can do it. Winter sports that we offer. Middle school softball is one of our sports that we offer. Middle school baseball, and then middle school boys and girls soccer. So if you have a middle schooler who's out there trying to figure out, hey, Mom, what do I want to do this year? Yeah, well, we got a lot of things for you. We've got middle school baseball, softball, and soccer, okay? High school sports. This winter, we're focusing on high school boys and girls basketball. Okay, so we typically field a JV and varsity team on those sports. And then we have high school boys and girls soccer, which typically we only field a varsity team due to the other schools within our region, within our conference, with their participation. We don't typically field a varsity and JV because of the other schools. However, if we have a good amount of girls and a good amount of boys, we're going to definitely do all we can to try to get all of our players some good, adequate playing time. And then coaches, listen to this. We have over 17 coaches who work in the winter sports. 17 coaches. That's a lot of people helping out. I mean, that's not including our support staff. So you have 17 coaches that'll be working this winter, working with your student athletes. Let's talk facilities really quickly. If you're a middle school athlete, there's a chance that you'll end up going to Deems Hills this year in soccer. That'll be in the event that we have a high school home soccer game. We would have you guys go over to Deems Hills on that day so you can continue to have a practice day. That is in the event, of course, that you don't have a game. And then victory lanes is a common place that we use for baseball and softball for their games and occasional practices. So expect that again, middle school. GP Stadium. GP Stadium is going to look a little different this winter. So this winter, what we're going to do is on our field, we're going to obviously have our field painted for soccer. That is our main kind of activity that happens out there that we host games at. But this year, we are also going to paint some diamonds on the field for baseball and softball. There will be some opportunities for on-campus practice. So we look forward to seeing you guys out there, getting that work in, getting some groundwork in, and all kinds of different things out there in that field. And then, of course, Moy's Gym. That's where we have basketball. So those are your facilities. I'm going to jump straight into some of our COVID policies and protocols. You can find these on GlendalePrepAthletics.com. If you go to the More section, you'll see all these different policies and procedures. And then, of course, visit AZ Preps 365 for our high school teams. There's a lot of information there with all the modifications if you want to know the details there. However, each coach has been given all the modifications for this year. So your student athlete will learn about these things at their first couple of practices, what they can do, what they can't do, what's different this year, what things should they look forward to every single day. One of the main things that all of our athletes need to really be aware of this winter is we will have a check-in that is the same every single day. Ask a fall athlete. Every day the check-in's the same. You check in through the gym patio doors. You come in, either Miss Daisy or an athletic administrator is going to check you in. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. Any fever, any cough, any sore throat, any shortness of breath, and any close contact with COVID that you're aware of. Students, we want you to answer these questions as honest as possible. No one is trying to hinder your chance of playing this year at all in practice or in games. However, we do need to be safe. So those are questions that Great Hearts has asked us to ask each one of our athletes every single day. We do that consistently. We log those forms. That way we have accurate information on each practice. So parents, that's also for you to feel secure in our practices and what we're doing. We have hand sanitizer available. We have PPE. We have masks. We have all kinds of things available here. But we do encourage you, send your student athlete to practice with a mask. That is required. To practice with the mask. And they are to wear that mask at all times except for when they are actually doing the sport, okay, when they're actually participating in the sport. But they'll wear that mask at all times, and then coaches and administration will be in mask at all times. I'll talk about that a little later, just to reiterate, okay. Let me move on to some other things here. Start dates and updates. So that's what's most different about this winter. We usually would have already started by now. So we missed our start date, that's okay. We were waiting for an update from the AIA and the Great Hearts Middle School League. We finally got those updates, like I said, late last week. And so here's kind of some new information for you. Our official start date, our first tryouts, and they are technically our first official practices, will be December 3rd. Okay, make sure you write that date down, December 3rd. Our baseball and softball teams will meet at 3:30 p.m. here at school. Boys and girls soccer will meet here at school, 3:30 p.m. on December 3rd. High school boys and girls soccer will meet at about 6 p.m. Okay, it's about 6 p.m. meet around campus. And high school girls basketball will meet at 3:20 p.m. here in the gym. High school boys basketball will meet at 5:30 p.m. Okay, so this is all December 3rd. We're going to have a lot of activity going here. So we're going to go to Thanksgiving break. We're going to take those extra extended days, and then we're going to come back and get right after it. So once again, middle school baseball, softball, 3:30 p.m. at the school. Boys and girls soccer, 3:30 p.m. here at the field. Okay, so just stay after school. If you have a fifth grader on the Archway side, what you'll do is you'll have them stay for after school sports. The Archway announces that. We come over, we get your child at about 2:55, and we bring them over. We get them set and ready to go. Looks like we may have a question here.
Mr. Garrison, can a middle school athlete play both club and their school sport?
Can a middle school athlete play both club and a middle school and a school sport? That is a question that we're going to get to here in 1 second. So I'm going to answer that one for you. If I don't answer it, though, we'll make sure to address it again. Give me 1 second, though, and we're going to answer that question. That's a great question. On our scheduled dates and times, our first game for high school will begin January 5th. January 5th for high school. You may not have a game on January 5th, but that's the earliest that games can start. For middle school seasons, those games will start January 11th. That's the earliest they can start. Okay? And seasons will end near February 16th for the high school and about mid-February for the middle school, okay, the regular seasons. More information to come about that. Now, let's talk registration Let me address that question though first, and we'll come back to some of this other stuff. So there was a question about can middle school students participate with a club and with their school? The answer is yes. For middle school, you can. Okay, if you're still in a club, you can still participate with your school. However, for high school, it's different. High school, the answer is no, but there are some clarifications that I need to give towards that. So as we jump into that here in a little bit, make sure you're listening because there are some specifics for our high schoolers, okay? One more question here that we'll take.
Are the high school softball or baseball teams still allowed to come to practices in open cages even after the winter season starts, even though they aren't in season?
Yes, there will be particular days where there will be an open cage. What will happen is those sessions will be separated. So high schoolers will be with high schoolers, middle schoolers will be with middle schoolers, still doing their practices. Your coaches will communicate that though. That question once again was, are high schoolers allowed to be at practices with the middle schoolers? They will not be in the same practice with them. That's not allowed. However, there will be days where there's an open session for both. While there's a practice, middle school will be able to do what they need to do, and high school will be in a separate location. So let's move forward here. Let's talk registration. Everyone should know this one. If you're registering your athlete, and it looks like a lot of you have already done it, if you're registering your athlete and you want them on the sheet for a coach on December 3rd, okay, they need to be on this sheet to try out. On December 3rd, if you want them there, you need to go to registermyathlete.com, choose the sport for that child, and fill out all the information on that database, okay? Now, there are a lot of questions. Do we need to do brain book? Do we need to do this? Do we need to do TMAP? That's okay if you have questions. The person asked those questions to is Mr. Hawkins, okay? His email is mhawkins@glendaleprep.org. Again, no questions are bad questions. Some of you are brand new to our sports program. That's okay. We're here to answer those questions. However, middle schoolers do not need to complete the brain book, okay? Middle schoolers do everything else that's there except for the brain book. High schoolers, you complete everything. Everything that's on there is for those high schoolers to complete. Now, if you already did the brain book, right, as a freshman in high school, you do not have to do that again. However, you do need to show proof that you've already done that, and that's why it's asking you to upload. Okay, so you should upload a screenshot of proof that you've already completed that portal, okay? That's your registration. Get that done, please, guys, please, because what's going to happen is on December 3rd, if you don't have that done, myself, Mr. Hawkins, the coaches, we don't allow you to practice. All right, even if you've been coming to open fields, open cages, at that point, we do not allow you to continue. So please make sure you get those registrations complete, okay? And that includes everything, a physical, everything in there. Payment portals are open. As of today, the payment portals are open. I have those links. I will be sure to make sure those links are in our next blast that will be included in the school blast. If you're a homeschooler and you don't get that blast, that's okay. You can email us. We'll make sure that you get that link. But other than that, visit GlendalePrepAcademy.com and you'll find it on there in the payment portal so that you can pay your fees. Your coaches will have those links as well so they can help you out. Please remember your fees are due before the first game. All right, so let's get those in as quick as we can so that we can address that. Now, while we're talking about fees, let me address the increase. There is an increase in fees this year. That was not just slid in on you guys. It wasn't a secret. We have fees increased this year because obviously we're having to pay more this year for increased protection with COVID-19, increased cleaning supply, having more cleaning throughout the day, throughout the evening, more PPE on hand. So we have a lot of extra expenses that we have to help make sure that we're covering so that we can keep your child safe here while we're playing and while we're participating. I like to tell people in the fall, we did not have to stop a single sport. I'll say that again. In the fall, we didn't have a single team have to go into quarantine. That's a huge deal. There were many schools around the valley who had to stop sports at some point to quarantine their entire team. Now, I'm not saying that Glendale Prep figured it out and we'll never have that happen. However, I do believe that the practices that we put into place, the amount of cleaning that we did, the amount of hand sanitizer that we went through, and I saw it, we went through a lot, has definitely helped us out. And so that's the increase for the fees. If you have any questions about the fees, please do not let that deter you from playing. Send those questions to me directly, jgarrison@glendaleprep.org, and I'll be sure to answer your questions and help you out, okay? Please, again, do not let the fees deter you from participating this year. That is not its purpose. It's just that we did have to increase those this year so that we can continue to supply. Now, we're into some of that meat, some of those questions about, hey, I heard that kids can't play, they can play. What's going on here, Mr. Garrison? I'm here to help explain some of this today, okay? So some of these policies that were given out, there's separations between high school and middle school, okay? So really make sure you're hearing me on this. There's separation between high school and middle school. on the high school side, this year there will be no scrimmages, no invitational tournaments, okay, and no region tournaments this year. Okay, so that's a huge difference. If you've been in our high school program for a while, no tournaments of any kind, no out-of-state travel either. All right, we had no plans to travel out of state this year, but across the state, there's no out-of-state travel either. All right, so that's just one of our new things. No scrimmages, so we'll jump straight into main games and we're going to go. All right, each athlete must have a minimum, okay, of 14 days of practice before any competition. Each athlete. So there could be student A who did all their 14 days plus some, because we're going to practice more than 14 times from December 3rd to January 5th. Okay, so in that timetable, December 3rd to January 5th, we need to get in at least 14 practices with your student athlete. Now, I know it's the winter break. I know that some of you have plans, you're traveling, all this. We were given this last week, and that's why we're communicating it to you right now, so that hopefully you can adjust those plans for this year. We have to remember the main purpose. This year, the purpose is let's get these kids on that field. Let's get these kids on that court. Let's get them playing. So the AIA had to make some changes, make some adjustments so that we can do that. And we're going to work hand in hand with them to do so. So one of those new rules, though, this has never been a rule before, is to have 14 days, okay, 14 days for the high schoolers prior to their first game. So if your child only gets 12 practices in from December 3rd to January 5th, which they shouldn't, they should be at every practice. But if they don't, then they would not be able to play in that game, okay, the first game of the year. And we're going to be keeping attendance this year. So coaches will keep attendance. They'll be letting us know. Now, we don't tend to have a problem with students attending practice because they're committed student athletes, which we appreciate. However, we're just making sure you know this now because there's a little bit more of that, hey, you got to get to practice. Okay, now there's a lot of gray in there in terms of what if my kid's not feeling the best? And we've also told you, hey, if you're not feeling the best, don't come to practice. Still honor that, please. Still honor that. However, just keep in mind that we do have to get the 14 days in. Now, in the event, you know, you're in a close contact situation or something from being at school or off campus or anything, you still do have to serve your 14-day quarantines, okay? So I know there's going to be a lot of questions around that. However, we're just communicating this to you now so that we're all on the same page that this is a league rule that they have to get their 14 days in, okay, before a game. That's the entire team. So coaches will keep track. If they have 15 players, let's use basketball, if they have 15 players who have 14 days at least, and they have a 16th player who has 10, that 16th player wouldn't be at the game. Okay? Now, let's go to the next thing. Middle school. For middle school, the number is 8. All right? The number is 8. So it's the same thing I just explained, except your number is 8. So high school is 14, middle school is 8. All right? And your coaches will reiterate this starting December 3rd. So December 3rd counts as day 1 for everyone. Okay? December 4th will be day 2, and you're so on and so forth. Now, these days do not have to be consecutive. You don't have to go in a row. All right? But you do have to get your 14 days in. Okay? Moving on. Clubs and outside teams. So some of you are involved in club teams, club sports. All of these guidelines, everything that I'm explaining today goes into effect December 3rd. So it's not in effect right now. It's not in effect tomorrow. It's in effect December 3rd for Glendale Prep. Okay, starting December 3rd, if you are on a club team, there's a new rule where you will have to be excluded, not quarantined. You'll have to be excluded from your team for 14 days if you participate with your club team in a game. All right, here's clarification. In a game. If you're on a club team and that club is still going through the year, you will have to be excluded from Glendale Prep practices if you go to that club's practice, then a game. If you go to their practice, you can still come to Glendale Prep practice. Okay? If you go to a club practice, you can still attend Glendale Prep practice. However, if you go to a club game, tournament on a weekend after December 3rd, you are then excluded from a Glendale Prep practice for the next 14 days. So please keep that in mind. Communicate to your coaches right now. High schoolers, not middle school. High school, communicate this to your coaches now. If you're on a club, if you have a big tournament coming up, your coaches need to know what's going on so that we can try to figure out that situation now. All right, now, with that being said, on January 5th, you no longer can participate with your club because the official games have started. Okay, that's a rule that's always been there. All right, so January 5th, you can no longer participate with that club. Again, if you have any questions, let Mr. Hawkins know, let myself know, and we'll be sure to help you out moving forward. This rule also applies to our high school coaches, so they're also aware of this, and they have to follow this as well. All right, now middle schoolers, that rule of 14-day exclusion does not apply to you as a middle schooler. Okay, if you are 13 and under and you are on a middle school program, you are still able to participate in those outside clubs, recs, while coming back to a Glendale Prep event. Okay, once again, if you have any questions about that, let me know. And for your club, let me just be clear, that does include anything like a scrimmage. So a scrimmage, a game, a tournament, if you participate in that, you cannot participate with Glendale Prep practice or games for 14 days. Now keep in mind, you still have to get your 14 days in of practice before the first game. So you got to think about that and weigh that out, as well as you got the holidays. I know typically some of our families travel during those 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th through the January 1st. Please note, your coaches have planned schedules during that time. High school and middle school have planned schedules because they have to get these days in with your student athlete, okay? So please keep that in mind, families. Again, this is the flexibility part. This is the flexibility part. And this is me being positive with you, because when I look at the main goal of why are we doing this? Well, we're giving our student athletes a chance to play. And so there are some parameters that we need to meet. Many of you have questions about the metrics. Hey, Mr. Garrison, what happened with the metrics? They're not low. Why are we playing? What happened with the AIA? Well, the AIA has basically said that our modifications have to be put in place by each athletic director in order for us to participate. We're still honoring the metrics. However, we're honoring the metrics in this way. One of the biggest changes is in fans. Okay, so in the fall, we did allow fans. We had a policy here that allowed fans at the outdoor games and the indoor. However, right now as it stands, because our metrics are higher, fans will not be allowed to attend high school games for sure. Middle school league still has to vote on it. That's not official yet. They're a separate league. They can, operate differently if they feel like it. However, on the high school level, for sure, we will have no fans right now until those metrics come back at the level that they originally needed to be for us to play. Okay, so there was basically an exception for the student athletes to go and participate, since we're not seeing a high number of any sort of COVID cases across the state through athletics. They were going to let the students play, but we are trying to limit that with the fans and extra attendance at the game for the high school games. Once again, for middle school, that there's not been a decision yet. So middle school parents, you don't need to ask me, hey, Mr. Garrison, no fans for middle school? No, I didn't say that. I also didn't say that there are fans. I said that they still have to vote on it, so we'll find out here soon. Okay? And we're almost done here, guys. We're flying through. And again, at the end, I'll make sure we addressed all the questions. Mask policy, I talked about it a little bit earlier. We're going to enforce that even stronger this winter. All right? This winter, there is a no tolerance policy with masks. No tolerance. If your student athlete is trying to check in without a mask, yes, we'll give them one. However, if that becomes a consistent thing, we're going to start asking them to stay home. Okay, they need to come to practice with the mask. They need to be ready with the mask. They're already at school with the mask. Come to practice with their mask. Again, they will check in through the gate, through the patio doors with that mask on. They'll keep that mask on all the way up until the point that shoes are on. They're ready to go, and then coach has said, let's start our warm-up. Then they can take their mask off. So they'll have their mask on for the pregame, the pre-practice talk. They'll have their mask on when, hey, coach brings everyone in. Remind your student athlete, put your mask back on. All right, they have to keep that mask on at any point that they're not playing, that they're not moving. This is new. Fall, it was a little different. This winter, it's definitely stricter. We're keeping the mask on at any point that we are not participating and playing and running, any aerobic exercising, okay? And for coaches, they will wear their mask at all times, and the coaches are aware. They can wear a mask or a full shield, a full face shield. So those coaches will wear those all practice, all games. Every time you see them, they'll have a mask on, okay? Once again, these guidelines go into effect December 3rd. Schedules are not uploaded yet. Schedules are getting recreated right now. So the conference will vote, most likely on our high school level for high school basketball. We'll most likely play our region teams twice still this year. For basketball, there's no rule. We'll still be able to get 20 games maximum if we want. within that time period. It's a smaller time period, so we may not do the full 20. However, we have that ability to. For soccer, we have the ability to schedule 13 games. It's on us as a school. It's on us as a coaching staff. For middle school baseball, 12 games. Middle school baseball and softball, you're looking at 12 games in their season. And then 8 games for middle school soccer. All right, so you're really not losing anything. It's just that we're trying to get it all in a shorter window. And there are just some changes with some of our fan policies and some other things. But listen, let me make sure that this is clear. I've explained a lot. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of difference going on. But I have so much confidence in our coaching staff. I smile about it. I have so much confidence in our coaching staff. I have so much confidence in our students to carry this out. What I saw out of our students this fall was that they can be told to do something, they'll do it in excellence. In anything they do, in the classroom, on the field, in these modifications, they did it in excellence. Our teams were always the best. Any opponent we played, they were always the best at wearing their mask. They were always the best at making sure they had social distance when needed. They were the best. And so let's continue that. Let's continue that push. This winter, I need you to help me, parents, help me, help the coaches with reminding your student athletes of some of these policies so that we can continue to play, because that's the goal. Let's continue to play. Let's push forward, whatever it takes to play, so that our students have these memories for the rest of their life. For the rest of their life, they'll be different. They'll come out of this so much better. That's the goal. Let's come out of this better. Let's come out of this better than we ever thought we could. All right, and then we'll flow right into the spring season, which everyone hopes goes perfectly for the spring. Last year, that was so unfortunate what happened with our spring athletes. Any seniors, former seniors watching this, we still feel horrible about what happened with that across the state. However, I know the AIA is committed to trying to have a full spring season this year, so that's why winter is a little shorter, so they can try to give spring a full experience to the best of their ability. Keep in mind that word flexibility. Keep in mind that word adaptable. And at all times, communicate with us if you have any questions. Again, mhawkins@glendaleprep.org for anything. That's register my athlete more so. He can dive in on that. He can help you out. And then Garrison@glendaleprep.org for any overall questions that you have, any concerns. And your coaches are listed on glendaleprepathletics.com. You see all the coaches listed there, so you have an idea of who your coach is. Now, if you're expecting communication from your coach between now and December 3rd, you most likely won't get it. Okay, high school programs, most likely there will be a little bit more communication, but middle school, no. Because middle school, we typically have brand new teams every year. So with middle school, please wait until after December 3rd, after December 4th, after we get those tryout dates. We figure out where your kid needs to be, which team, which program, so that they can get on those communication chains. Then you'll start hearing more from your coaches. Okay, so don't feel like your coach is ignoring you if they're not giving you too much information. They're just waiting to do the full evaluations so that we can announce the teams. All right, let's address some questions here really quick. Mr. Hawkins, is there anything that I may have missed? It looks like we're good so far. I think it's about 4:45, 4:46 if I know myself. I know we're probably right on target. And so we are going to end this call today. However, at any point, you can share this link with families, any friends that you have here at the school, any other parent that you know that didn't get to watch this. Hopefully it explains some stuff to you, especially that 14-day excluded. What does that mean, Mr. Garrison? What are we doing here? When does the season start? Remember, games start January 5th. First practice and tryouts start December 3rd. How many do you need if you're a high schooler before January 5th? 14. Yeah, good job. 14. How many do you need if you're a middle schooler before January 5th? 8. All right. But of course, we want you to go to all the practices, every single practice. All right. So that we can get those goals. We can achieve what we have in mind for us this year, which of course is excellence. It's excellence. So let's be great. Let's be excellent, Glendale Prep. Thank you for tuning in. As I close, we love honoring our students and some of the things that they do. We have a middle school student who wanted to be a part of commercials. We put it out on an announcement. We said, hey, students, if you have creativity, if you have the ability to create commercials, if you have something that you want to do, it has to be school related, send that in, see if it gets approved, and see if you make it on Griffin Sportsnet. Well, guess what? This student athlete made it on Griffin Sportsnet, and they're also an athlete. How creative, how talented. Look at our kids. So the next commercial that you'll see once I'm done talking is by one of our student athletes who created it. It's a commercial for our GP mask. If you're interested in those, you can contact myself for that or the front office. And after that, enjoy the rest of your evening. And we will see you guys on December 3rd, 3:30 for middle school. 3:20 for high school basketball, 6 p.m. for high school soccer, and 5:30 p.m. for high school boys basketball. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Sometimes I wish we didn't have to wear masks. They're so itchy and boring. Wait, what's that sound?
Don't worry, I'm here to help. You can get your very own Griffin mask. Just go ask Mr. Garrison and bring $10. Plus, it helps support Glendale Prep.
That's great, but I don't have any money.
That's disappointing.
Wait, I have 2 nickels and a dime. Now, just how to get those dollars.